And he was basically, kind of one of those guys that had a ton of victories, not undefeated, but almost undefeated in WWF when he first starts out in '86 for months, loses to Harley Race in the semifinals of the King of the Ring tournament, which is technically was a house show back then in 1986, where Harley Race eventually beats Pedro in the finals to be the King of the Ring. But really, I mean, for TV purposes and stuff, kind of was kept pretty strong, especially since he was heading into a feud and a long feud with Hercules Hernandez. So that was one of those things where they're both using the full Nelson. They're both kind of looking strong. They both have that same body type, both jacked individuals. Do you like Billy Jack and Hercules, the feud? And do you like keeping Billy Jack strong where maybe Vince can give him a bit of a push past the upper mid card?
Yeah, I like that. I mean, hold versus hold. They're built the same. Made a lot of sense.
He really, I mean, he was kind of, I would say undefeated, but almost undefeated in his run there. He has a Intercontinental Championship match against Macho Man Randy Savage. He loses to Macho Man, but it's almost like you're losing to a top dog. It's not like you're losing anybody bad, but everybody else. I mean, he beats Bob Orton. He's having matches with Iron Sheik. I mean, he's just having all these matches where he's looking pretty strong. I mean, is that the ideal thing to do with somebody like him? It's like he's green per se. I mean, he's been around for a few years, but he's pretty green. Keep him undefeated, or is it okay to have him lose? I mean, no, lose to Macho Man, it's fine, but do you like having him not lose really to anybody else?
Well, I mean, he they were trying to get baby faces lined up in case something happened to Hogan, physically.
Yep.
And they were going to need more than one guy. So, yeah, I think they did the right thing.
They even had him team up with Davy Boy, and on MSG they beat the Hart Foundation. So it's like, wow, they obviously think something of him, even in '87. Like they're keeping him strong for a reason. They definitely like him, but the Hercules feud is still going on. Obviously, that leads to WrestleMania 3, and there's a double count out there. So I mean, um, as far as WrestleMania 3 is concerned, if you look at it, they both kind of look strong, right? I mean, double count out after an 8-minute match, he still doesn't take a loss.
Yeah, I think they were just going along, uh, listening to the people too, because he was over.
Yep.
And uh, you can use him to plug in any hole too. You know what I mean? A guy goes down a tag team match, he can be awarded the belt and continue on like nothing happened. So, yeah,
It's so interesting because like he really didn't lose that much on TV. You would think that would be a guy like, Hogan or Savage. I'm like, oh, he's not losing much on TV, but they kept him really strong. And even though even in tag matches, he would barely lose. So obviously Vince had some sort of ideas for him. He would lose to occasionally, maybe to Butch Reed, who was maybe getting a little push, or Million Dollar Man Ted DiBiase when he came in. But I mean, he was beating Bundy and a bunch of other guys. So it just felt like, wow, they must like him or must see something in him, and must see money in him to not really, like job him out at all. It was very interesting the way he was booked in WWF and the way he talks about it. You would think that he hated his time there or should have hated his time there because he was booked so poorly, but he was booked strong for 2 years. Basically, he was booked strong.
yeah. I mean, why not? He looked like $1 million. His work was solid, wasn't extensive, you know, uh, technical knowledge, but what he did was very, very solid. And he looked the part, and his interviews were pretty good. So why wouldn't you keep him strong?